What is up, Ivy Leaguers? It is a great day to talk sports. Once again, I got a really fun episode for us here today. I'm going to be doing a fantasy football mock draft here, so we can kind of chat about fantasy football and get our mock draft in here. The draft says it's going to start in a minute and 40 seconds. All right, so let's talk a little before the draft starts. Obviously, yesterday was Saturday, the start of week 0 of college football. College football is officially back. I can hear the applause in the background somewhere. I mean, I am so happy that it's back. I mean, it just makes me uh, fills me with excitement. I mean, I'm already wearing the long sleeves because I can feel the cool weather coming back, getting out of this hot summer that we've had, or at least where I've been. I am so happy college football is back. And with college football being back, that means the NFL football is right around the corner as well. That's why we're diving into the mock draft for fantasy football here. I'm doing a 10-person league mock draft because I think that's about the average size of the leagues. Snake draft, the usual settings. Of course, if you have fancy settings for your league, sorry, but I do not. I play the normal fantasy football. I think I got my friend's draft is later this week, and then I got my family draft as well later this week. So this is going to be a good practice for me, and I can give some helpful insight to you fine folks, and hopefully y'all can get some advice from me. All right, going into the NFL season, it's going to be a fun season to see. A lot of different new names, new places. Specifically, I look at Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they look like a whole new team. They got Aaron Rodgers out there now, DK Metcalf out there now. They're going to be a fun team to watch, along with Jalen Ramsey. So yeah, they're going to be a really fun team to watch. Let's see. Here we go. Enter the draft room. Alrighty, here we go. It's doing its whole show and dance for me. Game on, presented by Miller Lite. Woohoo! All right. Oh, great. I have the last pick, so that's lovely. So let's see. I got the last pick in the first round and the first pick in the second round, so that's going to be a little rough. I guess that means I'll have plenty of time to talk to y'all, because I'll have plenty of time in between my picks. All right, so I'm hoping with this number one pick, now that since I'm pick 10, I'm probably going to have to settle for someone that I don't want. So I don't think that obviously Jamar Chase is the ESPN's top rated guy. Jamar Chase isn't going to fall to number 10. So there's no shot I have a chance of drafting him, even if he is the best player on the board. I mean, he is a really, really solid talent. I think he's one of the best receivers we've seen in a long time. And it's not just because it's not like he's the fastest receiver in the league. It's not like he has the best hands in the league. It's because you put it all together and you mix it all together and it equals the best receiver in the league. He's a really, really solid talent, a generational talent. I mean, even when he was back at LSU, he tore up the field at LSU, along with his best friend Justin Jefferson, who is the number 3 uh, prospect in the fantasy football draft. So the top 3 goes Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, and then Justin Jefferson, which I understand that because I think that look, Bijan Robinson's the real deal. I think he has an opportunity to solidify himself as a top 3 running back in the league this season. Um, Now, he's on the Falcons is the issue. The Falcons have been in a little bit of a rough patch recently. So if he is to solidify himself as one of those top 3 guys, he's gonna have to get some help from his offensive line. That's the biggest thing for me. I think once he does get that help, he will be a top back like that. So I think I'm trying to look at see who might be able to fall to me because I'd like to see if Jahmyr Gibbs, because Jahmyr Gibbs, one, he can do it all. He can run, he can catch. And the Lions are a solid team, so he could make some headlines with them. So I'm hoping Jahmyr Gibbs falls to me. If not, maybe Malik Neighbors will fall to me. I like the Giants team this year. The Giants are really, really looking up this year. I'm not saying they're a playoff contender yet. Obviously, they're in a division with the Eagles and the Commanders, and the Cowboys, but I don't think the Cowboys are anything to worry about. Um, so let's see. All right, we're not on the clock. Number one was on the clock. All right, and they're already flying off the board. So the top two picks were indeed Jamar Chase and Bijan Robinson. So these people right now look like they're just picking by the by the book. And I said it's a mock draft, by the way. It's not. I joined a random public league, so we'll see what happens. Um, Number three is still on the clock. I'm in 7 picks, so I'm hoping I can get lucky and maybe have someone fall to me. Like if Jahmyr Gibbs falls, I'll take him. I don't know about CeeDee Lamb because CeeDee Lamb, like I said, he's on the Cowboys, and the Cowboys seem like a dumpster fire right now. And I'm not saying that because I hate the Cowboys, all right? I don't hate the Cowboys. I think they're still America's team, but they're just not great anymore. They are a train wreck right now. So we'll see what happens with that. I'd like to see if I could maybe grab if McCaffrey falls, that'd be nice. And Jahmyr Gibbs just got picked, so I will not be picking Jahmyr Gibbs. Justin Jefferson's off the board. Saquon's off the board. All right, 4 more picks. I'm hoping that Malik Nabers could be our guy because, like I said earlier, I really like Malik Nabers. He has a very high upside potential. Because when he's hot, he's hot. He's gonna dominate your defense, and he's gonna do it well. McCaffrey just got picked. All right, so right now it looks like that Malik Nabers will probably be my pick. Maybe Ashton Jeanty. I might go for Ashton Jeanty. I have back-to-back picks because I have the 10th pick in the first round and the first pick in the second round. So I could go Malik Nabers, Ashton Jeanty, or I could flip-flop or do whatever, do something else, depending on who's picked here. I could also go, Ashton Jeanty just got picked, so scratch that, reverse it. I could go Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really like him. Again, I said this earlier, Detroit Lions are a really, really solid team. I think they're up there for my Super Bowl pick. I really like their upside. Jared Goff, seasoned quarterback. They're also getting a lot more help on defense this year with Aiden Hutchinson coming back from injury. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm really interested to see how that team responds this season they got knocked out of the playoffs by the Washington Commanders in an upset last year in the playoff. They were not my Super Bowl pick, but I think they were in the Super Bowl. I can't remember exactly. Y'all can fact check me. I can't remember if they were in the Super Bowl or not for me last season before they got upset by the Commanders, and that was a tough, tough loss for them. All right, I'm next. And at this rate, I might go Malik Nabers and Amon-Ra St. Brown. All right, come on. Allen's green team. I guess that's the guy before me. Sounds like quite a nice fellow. Allen Green, if you're watching, or Allen's Green, whatever it is. Probably an Eagles fan, maybe? I don't know. I could go with A.J. Brown, speaking of the Eagle. All right, here we go. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to draft first Malik Nabers, and then I have back-to-back picks. I'm going to draft Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think getting 2 solid. Yeah, all right. So we got right now, we picked both our picks. We go Malik Nabers and then Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that's solid. I think it gives us 2 receivers with super high upsides, different bye weeks. I think that's a good move for us. Now we got to wait like 20 picks. Yes, I'm on the clock in 17 picks. I hate having the last pick in the first round. It's very annoying. So we'll see if someone falls to me. I'd like it if Derrick Henry would fall to me to get a really solid running back in there, but I highly doubt he falls that far. We'll probably end up picking quarterback with one of our next picks, just because getting a top 4 quarterback off the board early is really good. So I'm going to go ahead and cue my top 4 quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts. Those aren't the top 4 quarterbacks in the league. Those are just the top 4 in fantasy football, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens with that. Derrick Henry already off the board, so I will not be picking him. I would really like to. He's a really solid Obviously, coming from an Alabama fan's perspective, Derrick Henry is one of, if not the greatest running backs in college football history. Obviously, winning the Heisman Trophy, and he's just a unit in general. I think he's got potential to again be. He's always in the line of top running backs in the league, but I think this year he has the potential to really solidify himself along with Saquon Barkley in that number two running back in the league position because, and I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but one day I was sitting at lunch. I was sitting at a restaurant here in South Carolina where I live, which is not very far from where Derrick Henry went to high school. Somewhere, where is it? It was in Florida, I think. It was close. I don't remember exactly where it was, and I'm sitting at this restaurant, and all of a sudden, the guy at the table next to me is talking about how he was Derrick Henry's coach in high school. He was his football coach in high school. And I started asking him, I was like, what was Derrick Henry like in high school? As a reporter myself, I have to try and get some info. And also, Derrick Henry is one of my favorite players of all time, period. So I was like, I got to talk to him about my guy, Derrick Henry. And he just said, Derrick is the hardest worker you'll ever find. And then, secondly, he told me a story about how one day he was planning on moving Derrick Henry to linebacker just because of his pure size and ability to run over people. And Derrick Henry, walks into his office, he shrinks down, trying to look small, and he's like, "Coach, I'm a running back. Coach, I'm a running back." And so he kept him at running back, and the coach was talking about how he was very happy he did because Derrick Henry went on to win the Heisman Trophy, win a couple national championships, and obviously now he's killing it in the NFL. Josh Allen just got picked, so there goes one of my quarterbacks that I was going to take. So next quarterback up would be Lamar Jackson. We'll see if he falls that far. Well, Lamar Jackson just got taken, and Joe Burrow just got taken. All right, so Jayden Daniels or Jalen Hurts right now for quarterback. Of course, that could change. I could take Patrick Mahomes. I could. People hate on Patrick Mahomes in fantasy football. I think he's a solid pick in fantasy football, especially this year with more weapons around him. Jayden Daniels off the board. All right, so now I'm in trouble. So I think one of my picks has to be a quarterback here. I'm trying to look at some other players. Josh Jacobs. If Josh Jacobs fell to me, I'd probably take Josh Jacobs. He's for a running back since I don't have one yet, since I went wide receiver for my first two picks. We'll see, though. I like it. Bucky Irving's another good running back. If Bucky Irving would fall to me, he plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's a really solid player there. I'm trying to see. Let's see. Davante Adams. I mean, I don't need a receiver right now, but if I got the chance, I might take him. I like Ladd McConkey too. He's a really, really good player. Remember when he played at Georgia in college? He was really good for Georgia. A really solid player. He's a good guy too. A nice guy. All right, let's see. Come on. All right. Josh Jacobs is the next best player on the board. We'll see if they take him, and they take him. Great. I got my pick in 4 picks. If Jalen Hurts falls, I'll take Hurts. If not, I gotta figure out what quarterback I'll take. Either Mahomes or Baker Mayfield. That's a pick 'em right there, because either one could either be really good or really poor. Really sorry. I mean, Baker Mayfield is a complicated person to draft. I'd really like to draft him, but you never know what he's going to do. He could either be a top 5, top 4 quarterback in the NFL, or he's Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, where he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. So you got to be careful in fantasy football when drafting a quarterback like Baker Mayfield because yes, he's coming off of a very hot season, very good, and Jalen Hurts was just taken. Yikes! All right, time to decide what I'm gonna do here. Let's see. I could take James Cook for a running back out of Buffalo Bills running back. I like him a lot. He's got another guy with a very high upside. Man, I'm in trouble here, boys and girls, whoever's watching. I don't know. Let's see. I'm in 2 picks. All right, so if Mahomes is still available in 2 picks, I'm going to take Mahomes because I know Mahomes can ball out. No matter what anyone says about him, I know he can ball. Man, they have Jordan Love behind Justin Fields on this list. That makes no sense to me. All right, I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes first, and now it's my pick again. So let's see. Now I have to decide. I could go with Trey McBride for a tight end, but then I'm going to be stuck with no running backs is the issue. So Kyren Williams, he's solid. Could go Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is untrustworthy though. I mean, I'm just going to be honest, folks. Alvin Kamara, I don't know what he's going to do. I'm going to go with Kyren Williams, okay? So right now my roster is quarterback Patrick Mahomes, Kyren Williams at my running back. I don't have a second running back. My 2 receivers are Malik Nabers and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like I said, good lineup, but shaky lineup. So we got to try and rebound this and save it. I mean, it's not a bad team right now, but it's got some work to do. So let's see who might be available at our next pick. We have 16 picks until my pick. Great. I don't want them in my queue. Sometimes I just queue random players just to have them on there. I probably want to take another running back by my next pick. So let's see if there's a running back that might be available. We could, if Devontae Smith is still available, I might take him even though he's not a running back to get a good flex wide receiver because Devontae Smith, I think, is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, quite frankly, he was one of the reasons the Eagles won the Super Bowl, obviously, and I think he's one of the shiftiest wide receivers out there. Specifically, his ability just to get loose. I mean, like when he's being guarded, if it's man-to-man coverage and Smitty's one-on-one, you better hope that your number 1 DB is on him because he's gonna shake him. I mean, he is one of the shiftiest receivers I've ever seen personally. He's also, it's amazing to me that he's able to stay healthy in the NFL considering how thin he is. Because it's tough. I mean, he's taking hits, and if he gets injured, it's a big piece out for the Philadelphia Eagles. So you wonder if that plays a role in his decision making because I look at a guy like Tyler Lockett. I don't know if he's still on the Seahawks, I think. Tyler Lockett, I mean, he's been able to stay. You know what? He might not be on the Seahawks anymore, but he's been able to have a really long career because he's been avoiding hits. He'll sometimes just instead of trying to truck for an extra yard or two, he just dives forward for an extra yard or two. So I'm wondering if that's what Devontae Smith has been doing as well, just to keep his um, just to keep himself healthy, really, and to keep his career elongated because he's a really solid player, like I said, and he's going to be a really key piece for the Eagles this year in their Super Bowl, their attempt to try and go back to back in Super Bowls. All right, we're up in 7 picks. People are starting to go quicker now that there's not as many people, or now that there's not as many stars available. We can kind of start looking at who's going to be available for us to pick. Like I said, I want another running back and maybe a flex guy, so either a receiver, tight end, or running back. So Smitty looks like he'll be available. Jalen Waddle will also be available, but the issue is Jalen Waddle at the quarterback position. Who's going to be throwing the ball to him? Will it be Tua? Or will Tua be healthy? Really is the question because a healthy Tua Tagovailoa is a top 15 quarterback in the league. He's a top half quarterback in the league, but either no Tua or concussed Tua is a rough and sticky situation for the Dolphins. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Dolphins season plays out because I like the Dolphins as a team as a whole. You look at Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle next to each other, that's a crazy wide receiver duo. And when they have Tua healthy, they're one of the best teams out there, and they're really, really tough to beat. But that's a big if Tua's healthy. No one knows if he will be or not because they are being very, very tricky with their off-season press. Let's see. Oh, we're on the clock. We got to get us. Let's see. DeAndre Swift is the best running back available. I'm going to take him just because I need a back. Now, with my back-to-back picks, it's between Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. Or I could go with Jameson Williams. 3 Alabama receivers right there that I could take. I'm gonna take Devontae Smith. I think he's like I said earlier, the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL, and I think his upside is worth it. So I took him. I wonder if I could take Travis Hunter. If Travis Hunter is still available next round, I might take him. He's solid. I need a tight end, so I should probably start looking at tight ends. I don't need to worry about defense or anything yet, but tight end would be good to look at. Or I could just draft a kicker right now and completely shake up this draft. I'm kidding. I would never do that. I am not that dumb. I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid. Let's see. 15 picks. This is the annoying part with having picks spread out like this. I mean, it's just you don't get to do anything for a long time. And I might, depending on how long this takes, I might cut the video. Like I'll halfway through. Well, we're about to be halfway through, but give or take halfway through, I'll say, you know what, we're just drafting bench players anymore. You don't need to know anymore about this. We can end the video early. But for now, we'll keep it going. I at least gotta fill out my starting slots. We'll put it that way. Let's see. Storylines that we could talk about. Let's talk about real quickly. Let's put aside the NFL. Let's go to high school football. Friday Night Lights. Because I'll tell y'all all right now, Friday Night Lights is the purest football you will find. Because right now, I mean, yes, there is NIL in high school now. But there is not as much NIL in high school as there is in college, and there's not as much money as there is in NFL. So right now, in my opinion, high school football is the purest football you will find because, I mean, you just look at these kids, they're just out there playing football. They're not worried about, most of them are not worried about going D1 or worried about playing at the next level or worried about making money off of football. They're just out there to have fun and hang out with their boys and play some football. That's what football's all about, ladies and gentlemen. That is what it is meant to be. Now, I understand if you're in the pros, you have to worry about money and keeping making a stable income for your family. In college nowadays, you got to worry about money as well. But in high school, you don't got to worry about any of that. You might have to worry about your Spanish quiz and next Monday, but you don't got to worry about, making money off of football. So that is why I will always say, or at least not always, I will right now say that Friday Night Lights or high school football is the purest football you will find out there right now, and it makes me so happy. Shout out to my own high school team. I'm not playing on it because of many reasons, but shout out to Hilton Head Christian Academy. We got a win last night, a great win. It was awesome. It was really fun to be at. I mean, it was pouring down rain um, for at least 3/4 of the game, but it was awesome. It was fun, and we had a great time. It was a great win for us. Rough and tough game, and that is what it is. So if you're a high school kid out there, go to your high school football games. I don't care where you are. Go to your high school football games. I don't care if y'all are good, bad, doesn't matter. Go to them. Okay, and now we are on the clock. See, I can rant about high school football enough that we're on the clock. So I want to take a tight end. Let's go to tight end. because I need to get a solid tight end. Tight ends can make or break your fantasy team, folks, believe it or not. And I'm going to draft. Do I draft Travis Kelce? See, 2 years ago, if Travis Kelce was still on the board, I would have said take him immediately. But he hasn't been great. He wasn't great last year. And I don't know if he's going to be great this year. So I'm wondering if I take David Njoku because Joe Flacco is most likely. I'm going to take David Njoku for this reason. Joe Flacco is most likely going to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And Joe Flacco's favorite thing is a tight end. So that's why I'm taking him. Now let's draft another player. And I'm going to take Jameson Williams for a backup wide receiver. That's a solid pick. He is a great player. One of the fastest players I've ever seen in person. I remember when he was at Alabama. I mean, man, so quick. I mean, it was just like lightning. If you blinked, you missed him, and he was in the end zone. So he's a really fun player to watch, and now I have him on my fantasy team. Let's go. So my weakest position is probably the running back. I'm not gonna lie. Kyron Williams and what's his name? Devontae Swift. DeAndre Swift. Sorry, not Devontae. DeAndre Swift. And he's good, but that's probably my weakest position if I had to bet. So yeah. But like I was saying about Friday Night Lights, go support your high school, okay? And it's the best part of high school. Guarantee it. You'll have a good time, no matter if your team is bad, or awesome. Your team doesn't have to be Buford High School, where they spent however millions of dollars on building a stadium. Your school could not even have bleachers, and it would still be fun. So go support your high school football team. It's fun. Trust me. Okay. Like I said, shout out HHCA. Good win 2 nights ago. We're gonna get another one this week. Hopefully it's not pouring down rain because it was fun playing in the rain. But once you play in the rain too many times, it gets a little annoying. I mean, truly, on the sidelines, we were slipping and sliding everywhere. I mean, it was nuts. The referee was running down the sidelines right in front of us, and he slipped and fell. It was hilarious. It made me laugh so hard. Um, but enough said about that. Enough said about referees slipping and sliding all over the field. Let's focus on our next pick. All right, I want to try and expand our depth. So I'm thinking another running back is what we need. Maybe another running back and a wide receiver, or if there's another good tight end still available, we'll do that. But let's see, who's the best running back still available? I'm up in 7 picks. Best running back still available. RJ Harvey out of Denver. Really? I didn't know he was as good as they say he is. RJ Harvey was really good in college there for a year or two. He's a solid player. Jaylen Warren out of Pittsburgh. He's another good player. Let's see. Who could we get? We could also get a backup quarterback. Go ahead and lock down a backup. I don't know if I want to do that though, just because I feel like that's a cop out right now. We don't really need a backup quarterback yet, and for me, a backup quarterback in fantasy, you don't have to really worry about as much, because all right, say your starters out has 1 bye week, all right, and you can have 1 week where you don't win. You're most likely not going to go undefeated in fantasy football. If you do, congrats. So typically, I'll try and get a guy like Bryce Young, who he probably won't have a great game, but he'll get 14 points maybe, and be able to just keep your team alive and give your team a chance. Let's see what quarterbacks are still available. I'm not gonna take one yet. Yeah, I mean we still got plenty of quarterbacks available. You also want to take a quarterback who is healthy, who's gonna stay healthy throughout the season. So like, not a Tua Tagovailoa, maybe more like a, let's see, more like a, even if I might take Cam Ward as my backup, number 1 pick. solid. No one knows what he's going to do because he's a rookie. I might take Cam Ward and see what happens. See what happens with that. Let's see. I am in one pick. All right, I'm up. All right, so I'm going to take running back. I'm going to take Jaylen Warren. He's the best running back available. And now I'm up again because that's how this draft worked out. So, who is still available that could help my team? Ooh, we could take Chris Olave from the Pelicans. That's a good pick. Another really solid wide receiver. I like that pick right there because he is a solid wide receiver, and he's just going to help further this team out. What time is it? All right, so I'm thinking I might cut us off there now that I have all the starters and most of the backups picked out, except for the kicker and the defense. And I'll give you my picks for that. All right, so far the fantasy roster lineup, whatever it is. All right, quarterback Patrick Mahomes, running back number 1 Kyren Williams, Los Angeles Rams. Running back number 2 DeAndre Swift. Right, that's his name. I always forget his name. Yeah, DeAndre Swift. All right, running back number 2. All right, wide receiver 1. He was my first round pick with the number 10 pick, Malik Nabers. Okay, and he's solid. He's really good. All right, I would look for Malik Nabers in your draft if you can get him. Wide receiver number 2, but also he was my second round pick, but he was the number 1 pick in the second round, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Really good, high upside, solid player. Look for him in your draft if he's available. Tight end, David Njoku. And David Njoku is one of the better tight ends out there just because of his pure size, and he's got great hands, great mobility. So I'd look for David Njoku. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's a football guy, really solid player. Look out for him. I would, if he's available, I'd take him for your tight end spot. My starting flex is Devontae Smith. Like I said earlier in the podcast, he's my top. He's my most underrated receiver in the NFL. Like if he's available, dude, you gotta take him. So look for him in your draft. Really good. He's a solid flex guy. Really solid there. And then bench. We'll look at the bench real quickly. Jameson Williams at wide receiver. Bench. Jaylen Warren, Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a running back. Bench. And then Chris Olave, wide receiver from New Orleans. Not the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans Saints. So I think that is a solid rounded bench. And then defense, the defense that I would pick if I were you guys. I mean, look, you got to look at a defense that's high flying, and who's more high flying than the Lions defense right now? Lions or Eagles defense? Either one of those are the defense that I would get, even though they're not the top rated on here for some reason. I would look for the Eagles or the Lions defense. And then kicker. All right, look, I'm gonna be honest. Kicker, you can kind of go crazy with. Pick whoever you want. I like Cameron Dicker, just because of he was in college. Everyone called him Dicker the Kicker. Liked him a lot. You could go Jake Elliott. You could look for teams that are going to score a lot of points. Okay, look for teams that have a high-rated offense. So maybe what's the guy? Detroit's Jake Bates. Look for him. Look for someone like that. Someone with a high-flying offense that's going to score a lot, or at least get into field goal range a lot, and give these kickers their room to work. All right, I'm going to do 2 more picks, and then I'll sign off for next time. Let's see. What are we going to do? We'll pick a backup quarterback who's available. We are not going to pick Justin Fields. I have no faith in Justin Fields whatsoever. Maybe Michael Penix. I like Michael Penix a lot. Yep, Michael Penix is there. Or CJ. Oh, CJ Stroud is still available? Give me CJ Stroud every day. Dude, CJ Stroud, I mean, yeah, he had a sophomore slump, but CJ Stroud is a heck of a quarterback. I don't know how he fell that far. And then we'll take a running or a backup tight end. We'll take I mean, Dallas Gobert. Or Godert, however you pronounce it. Not Rudy Gobert, Dallas Godert, or however you pronounce his last name. That's another solid tight end. My bench is solid, y'all. I'm telling you. My bench looks good. All right. So, long story short, fantasy football, fun for everyone. If you're not in a league, join a public league, have fun, or ask your friends to do it. It's free, it's fun, it's easy. All right, that's it for today, Ivy Leaguers. Probably a little longer of an episode than y'all are used to. That's okay. That's what I'm here for. All right. Until next time, Ivy Leaguers. Probably going to have one coming out next weekend to recap week 1 of the college football season. Until next time, this is Ivy Taylor signing off.